All right, TwoSun blade lovers. This old sword is back with you. And we have another numbered knife from TwoSun. TS279, designed by NightMorning Design. And it is a beautiful looking, unusually shaped knife out of titanium, and yes, you guessed it, 14C28N. That seems to be the big introductory steel these days for TwoSun. If the model does well, they come out with it in S90V or M390. There are some, however, that come out initially in those better steels. Your guess is as good as mine as to why. But here we have kind of a hawksbill, Wharncliff, sheepsfoot blend. A very interesting knife by Mr. NightMorning Design. And let's take a closer look and we'll get some measurements. First of all, let's close her up. The action is quite nice, courtesy of me. It was a little tight to begin with, but you can remove the pivot, remove the screw, a little bit of a juggling act because you've got pins that have to get aligned here, and bearings that need to go back in the right places, and housings for the bearings, and yada yada. They're actually platforms that they ride on, if you will. But you can take that lock bar on this frame lock and you can adjust the tension by gently bending one direction or the other. Thing is, when you want to relieve tension and make it a little lighter, you also need to remove the hardened steel insert, and that can be just a little tricky sometimes, but it came out fine after 6 tries. Back and forth until I got the adjustment the way I wanted it. This blade drops shut now. It's been well oiled and cleaned. Interesting here that this was left opened. It's not flat or rounded, but it's because of the design and the fact that it needs to rest on the pin. So that blade comes back and falls right into that pin. The lockup is very tight, even with my adjustments to give it a little bit of looseness. You do have no detent ramp there, so you get a little bit of stickiness until there, and then it just drops shut. So really nicely milled, patterned, like a diamond design on the titanium. Natural titanium color. So if you're into anodizing, there's lots of opportunity here. Interesting dish-shaped clip. Kind of looks like the same kind of clip you'd get if it was a pressed metal. Kind of a punched out clip, but no, it is milled titanium. It's secured from the outside. I have only one screw here with a tubular pin that comes up through. You got a closed back construction with some very nice file work / jimping there. Nice machined kind of engine turn looking pivots with the triangle shape design on the other side where you have a T8. So it was a T8 here, it was a T6 here for the hardened steel insert. And I didn't take the clip off, but that looks to be also maybe a T6. No, actually no, because this was a T8, so this looks like it could be a T8 as well. Don't have my set with me, but beautifully finished knife. Really only one way to open it. Well, you can spidey flick it very nicely. Big hole. Interesting shape to it, and it's kind of two-tiered where it continues over there but doesn't go through, but it does go through here, and all of that shelf there is available to you for opening with a thumb or, again, with a spidey flick very nicely. But real interesting blade, satin finished Sandvik steel 14C28N, which I've been told by some of you watchers here that the Bowler company, which makes the Sandvik steel, was natively a Swedish company, but was bought out by and the manufacturer is located in Austria. So shout out to Austria for making the Sandvik steels now through the Bowler company. And I forget the other company it merged with, but I'm sure my friend from Austria will fill us in. Some good information there. And I thank anybody who positively contributes and has constructive criticisms. Certainly not opposed to it. I like to learn. I don't know everything. Knives come out every day that I haven't seen before, so that is all of us kind of contributing to each other's knowledge. Interesting blade shape. We have almost a claw type look, and it is a S reverse curve to the front of the knife. So you get a little bit of a belly here. It starts out as a flat, a little bit of a belly there, and then you get a reverse curve there, and that gives you kind of basically a talon sort of look to the sheep's foot. I don't think I've seen that particular grind ever before. But let's see what the measurements are. And let me back out a little so we can get a better full-length view. All right, we got a blade of almost 4 inches. We're going to call it 4 7/8. Got an overall length of almost 8.5 inches. So you get a blade to handle ratio that's just incredible. I don't know if you can see that, but that tip comes right back to just about the termination of the handle. And no, it doesn't pick up any flesh here, which is a nasty habit that some knives have. You slide your thumb across there and you slice it open. But because of the shape of the blade, following the contour of the handle, it's a great design. So again, no danger here that I'm aware of, and yet Mr. NightMorning utilized every single bit of the handle. That's why I got an 8.5 inch overall length, and you have almost a 4-inch blade. Usually when you have a 4-inch blade, you're pushing up closer to 9 inches, right? Thicknesses. So, well, I'm on set to inches, so let's do the handle thickness. Exactly a 1/2 inch. So not too fat at all. And 3.7 millimeters on the blade stock. And we'll size it up against a few others here. How about the Rat Model 1? It is about the same size as the Rat Model 1, but with a little longer blade. And I didn't get the cutting edge measurement on that. Maybe I will in a second. But you do have, and I'll point this out in a minute, you do have a little bit of a blade choil there. Sharpening choil, whatever you want to call it. So again, overall length very comparable to the Rat 1. The Benchmade Freak. Pivot to pivot. A slightly longer blade. Freak has a little longer handle. The Freak is not doing quite as well with a blade to handle ratio. And the Griptilian is going to be smaller. However, the handle on the Griptilian is about the same. So really maximizing the size of the blade on this. What did I say it was? TS279. Who on earth can remember these numbers? I know some TwoSun guys that collect that can, but I began to lose track of the numbers. But a beautiful, interesting looking blade, which I didn't give you a weight on, so let's do that. All we got to do is find the scale. It's getting a little cluttered here. Here we go. So we have a very nice and light sub 4 ounce knife, 3.970. So you have almost a 4-inch blade, 8.5 inches overall, and yet it's under 4 ounces. How is that possible? Well, let's see. Any weight relieving? I am not seeing any. And there are no scales on this knife. It's solid titanium. So beautiful job. It is a two-sided knife, as I said, see, with a backspacer in the center. The backspacer is held in with a pin right about here. You can't see it, it's hidden. And we've got the screw with the pin that goes straight through from one side. So not too difficult to take apart. A little testy getting it back together again, just making sure everything lines up. And then, of course, doing that a few times to get the action the way I want it. So as it is now, and these may not all come through with that kind of action, we have a very nice responsive knife. Interesting handle shape, interesting clip design, not a deep carry and not reversible, by the way. Hardened steel insert. A little bit of a hook here, but you know, it's not sharp. And yes, for you jimping fans, there is jimping here. And it is a short run, but very aggressive. Thumb's not sliding on that. And we have no option for lanyard on this guy. No hole and no pin. Nothing that I can see. So you want to run a lanyard through it, you'd have to do it through the clip. One commentary on TwoSun's 14C28 and to some degree their 12C 28N is that you can't really see it in this light, but straight out of the box, oftentimes you will see little micro scratches. A harder light is going to show it more than the soft light I'm using here in the studio. Yeah, I can't really point anything out to you, but no one's figured out quite why yet, whether it's softer. If it's a tempered steel that holds an edge, I don't know how it can be soft. Maybe it was soft at one point in the production process. Maybe they get knocked around in one area of the assembly line in production when they're doing their hand fitting. You got me, but if you know any TwoSun collectors, or if you are a TwoSun collector, yes, their Sandvik steel for some reason or other is picking up little micro scratches. They're not always the most attractive thing, but you don't see them under every light. And if it's a user, hey, who cares? But this one for me probably won't be a user. I don't have too many all titanium knives that are users. I tend to go with a G10, a carbon fiber, something of a composite that's a little warmer feel. But certainly this could be a hell of a user with a hell of an edge. And I know I'm going on here, but a little longer than I expected. But let's see what we got. Oh yeah. We've got a very nice edge right out of the box. It's in the technique, right? I think you can fail almost any knife on paper if you don't draw it across the right way. Okay, so the TwoSun 279 by NightMorning Design. This came in somewhere in the vicinity of 70, 75 on the auction. Probably by now, I think that was 2 weeks ago, probably by now you can get them for a little less, who knows. But the 14C28N blades, the Sandvik blades, tend to drop pretty quickly after the initial thrill and the jacking up of the price by buyer demand. Okay, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed this. Give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm pushing 500 subscribers, which is great. When we hit 1,000, we will have a GAW. So look for that. Going to be a little bit up the line, but I will have a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers, so keep on coming. Be well, and we'll see you soon.